The Nigerian Army has said 4 years after the launch of the mobile application, an AI report, the application has so far recorded 10,000 downloads. The then Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, was quoted as saying that the app was launched to allow citizens to give the service timely information on the activities of terrorists, among others, as well as report erring personnel to the authority. The application was launched in October 2018 during the inauguration of the Nigerian Army Cyber Warfare Command, a new core to protect its data network against cyber attacks and curb terrorism. A check on the Google Play Store, which contains all mobile applications for the Android phone users by correspondence, showed that the app has been downloaded over 10,000 times. Also, newsmen gathered that the application was not available on the Apple Play Store for iPhone users to download. Family members of the slain lawyer in Lagos State spoke to newsmen about the incident that led to the death of Bolanle Rahim, a member of the Nigeria Bar Association, that is the NBA. Speaking to correspondents, the sister to the deceased explained how the incident took place.
Am I wearing the nice clothes? I said, no, go and change. She wants to carry my daddy late clothes that we use for burial. She wants to use that. I said, don't wear burial clothes. Don't wear
When we return, news from other parts of Africa. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now to news from other parts of West Africa. Police in Ghana have warned faith leaders against making traditional New Year prophecies which can cause fear, anxiety, or death. The police said in a statement that the right of freedom of worship must not violate the rights of others. Critics, however, say the order violates the constitutional right for freedom of religion and it is therefore illegal. Newsmen have observed that millions of Christians often gather in churches to hear their pastors make proclamations about the new year. The messages often ranges from optimistic projections to those warning of impending doom. In a statement, the police commended religious groups for their cooperation and for adopting legally accepted means of communicating prophecies. Meanwhile, Ghanaian lawyer Sami Darko said the police order was illegal, noting that no law in Ghana grants the police administration any powers to regulate prophecies in the country. The police have said they have adopted 27 December as Prophecy Communication Compliance Day. And now to the Gambia, where government of the Gambia has established an investigative panel following the arrest of alleged coup plotters. The 11-member inquiry group was sworn in and includes members from the Justice Ministry, the Office of the National Security Military Forces, the police and intelligence agencies. A spokesperson stated that a captain and a lieutenant were among military men who have been arrested. According to an official statement, they are helping unearth allegations of plans to overthrow President Adama Barrow's government. Mamadou Sabali, the Minister of Presidential Affairs under former leader Yahya Jammeh, has been imprisoned. He appears in a video in which he allegedly suggests President Barrow would be deposed prior to the upcoming elections. His party, the United Democratic Party, demanded his immediate release. Since 2020, military takeovers in Mali, Guinea, and Burkina Faso have shaken West Africa. Adama Barrow was elected a second term in 2021. The panel will have 30 days to report back on last week's coup attempt. We now move to other parts of Africa after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Good to know you're still there listening to Africa Today on Hills TV and now to other parts of Africa. Angola's Supreme Court has ordered the preventive seizure of assets of Isabel dos Santos, daughter of former President Eduardo dos Santos, deceased in July this year. This is the second seizure of Isabel dos Santos' assets in Angola since 2019. The court order covers 100% of the shares of the company, Embavildro, of which the defendant is the beneficial owner, as well as the balances of all bank accounts owned or co-owned by the daughter of the former Angolan president. Also included are Isabel dos Santos' share in mobile networks in Mozambique, Cape Verde, and Sao Tome and Principe. According to the Supreme Court, the businesswoman damaged the Angolan state in over 1 billion euros in other criminal cases with evidence of embezzlement, influence peddling, economic participation in campaigns, and money laundering. The decision by the Angolan Supreme Court was based on documents from State Oil Company, Sonangol and Mobile Phone Company, as well as information provided by Portuguese and Dutch authorities. As Ethiopia's northern conflict appears to calm, resolving thorny issues remains a cornerstone for the former warring parties to achieve lasting peace. During the first visit to the region by a high-level government delegation since the signing of the peace deal, Debretsion Gebremichael, the TPLF leader, insisted the nearly 2-year-long war could only end up once Eritrean troops and Amhara militias leave the region. The Tigray People's Liberation Front official accused the troops of invading that part of the territory, adding that people were being killed and massacred. The federal authorities have indeed been backed by fighters coming from neighboring Amhara region and Eritrea. Ethiopia's national carrier, Ethiopian Airlines, said it would resume commercial flights to the war-torn region of Tigray on Wednesday, today, after a shutdown last 18 months. The resumption in some areas of banking and telecommunications services are other signs that normal services are beginning to open up. 8 Congolese soldiers and a civilian were sentenced to death on appeal by a military court in Ituri province in the northeast of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Judicial sources said on Tuesday that 2 of the 8 were high-ranking colonels. The prosecution successfully argued that the 2 colonels had organized and planned an attack on a convoy carrying Chinese workers in Irumud territory, Ituri, with the aim of stealing 4 gold bars and 5,600 euros carried by the victims. The envoy, which was returning from a gold mining site, was attacked at Ndereme village on March 17, 2022. 2 Chinese nationals were killed and their civilian driver was injured. Like others, Colonels Mukalesenga Tsendenku and Kayumba Sumahili were found guilty of murder and criminal association according to the ruling handed down in Bunai, the capital of Ituri province. The death penalty is regularly pronounced in the DRC but is commuted to life imprisonment. 3 other soldiers, 2 of whom were sentenced in the first instance to 10 years in prison, were acquitted for lack of evidence. Up next is business news. Stay with us. On business news, the Nigeria Immigration Service has generated 438.78 billion naira as revenue from 2017 to date. Findings by newsmen have shown that this came as the total sum of internally generated revenue by the agency almost doubled from 38.53 billion naira in 2017 to 74.69 naira budgeted IGR in 2022. In 2017, 2018 and 2019, the NIS reportedly generated 38.5 billion naira, 39 billion naira and 61 billion naira respectively. However, the service's IGR suffered a 19% drop to 49.9 billion naira in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the report, in 2021, the revenue rose by about 44%, amounting to 71.7 billion naira. Its proposed revenue for the 2022 fiscal year stands at 74.6 billion naira. A breakdown showed that 31.6 million US dollars, 36.91 million US dollars, and 41.8 million US dollars were generated in 2017, 2018, and 2019 respectively. In 2020, 2021, and 2022, the service generated 20.07 million US dollars, 40.33 million naira, and 39.90 million US dollars respectively. Meanwhile, the budgetary allocation for the immigration rose by at least 2,023% in the fiscal years from 2018 to 2023. Still talking business, Tunisia's finance minister unveiled a new budget aiming to use new tax revenues to claw the deficit back to near 5% of GDP as the cash-strapped country awaits an international bailout. The 2023 budget comes as the North African country grapples with eye-watering public debt, shortages of goods from sugar to petrol, and inflation at nearly 10%. The latest plans aims to cut the budget deficit from 7.7% of gross domestic product to 5.2%. Finance Minister Sihem Bojiri told newsmen that the state, saddled with the crippling public wage bill and politically sensitive subsidies, is set to take around 46.4 billion dinars, that is 14.8 billion US dollars. Still to come on Africa Today is sports news. Stay with us.
Good afternoon and welcome to Sport News on Africa Today. I am Richard Badu. On Sport News, drama preceding the 2022-2023 Nigerian Professional Football League season continues to unfold with heated arguments, the latest being stakeholders airing divergent views over the format of the incoming season. After a meeting with the club's representatives last Wednesday, the interim management committees, that is IMC, of the Nigerian Professional Football League, led by Gbenga Elegbeleye, had proposed an abridged league format, but the club owners, in a new twist, kicked against the format, labeling it as a misrepresentation of their agreement at the meeting. Chairman of the club owners, Isaac Danladi, in a statement said it was agreed that the abridged league proposed by IMC and the straight league, which was overwhelmingly proposed by the clubs, would be communicated to the Nigerian Football Federation, that is NFF, by the IMC for further necessary action. The former chairman of the Nigerian Premier League, Rumsin Baribote, in his own view, tagged the move by the club owners as mischievous as it supports the move by the interim management committee. And away from that story, contrary to the reports going round in the media about the indomitable Lions of Cameroon boycotting the 2023 Championships of African Nations, that is CHAN, the chairman of the local organizing committee, Melod Adefi, has confirmed that the former African champions will be present at the Mundial. The news filtered in a few days ago that Cameroon is considering withdrawal from the competition due to the security threats. The information relating to a possible withdrawal of such a selection is only mere rumors, according to reports from the organizers, because none of this was communicated to the Confederation of African Football, that is CAF, who are the organizers of the event. 17 delegations, in addition to Algeria, sent their emissaries to visit their place of accommodation, as well as the sites of training and official meetings, before sending the enlarged list of their players and different staffs. Before we call it a wrap up on sports, President of the Federation of Senegal Football, Augustin Senghor, has confirmed that Senegal coach Aliou Cissé will continue to lead the team as the team will be heading to the 2023 African Cup of Nations. The former international defender has been under immense pressure due to the average performance of the team at the just concluded 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Some officials of the federation believed Cissé should be relieved of his duties and another manager should be employed to tinker with the team. Meanwhile, Senghor said they have agreed with Cissé that he will be allowed to continue with the Teranga Lions of Senegal. Côte d'Ivoire will host the 2023 African Cup of Nations, that is AFCON, in the winter of January-February come 2024. And that's your sport news on Africa Today. Back to Ainan Lubem for the rest of the news. I am Richard Badung.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now to the rest of the news. The Federal Road Safety Corps, that is the FRSC, has confirmed that only 7 persons have so far died, while 29 others were injured in the traffic incident which occurred during the Bikers Parade at the integral part of the annual Calabar Carnival, which was held on Tuesday. The sector commander of the Corps, Meikano Hassan, who confirmed the incident, said only 7 persons have died so far. The sector commander further disclosed that the number of injured involved in the accident were 21 male adults, 3 women, 2 male children, and 3 female children. He said the injured were rushed to the Naval Hospital and the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital for medical attention. Speaking further, Hassan said the remains of the dead have been deposited in mortuaries of 2 hospitals in the state, while the injured are receiving treatment, while those who died have been deposited in the Naval Hospital morgue. Meanwhile, the governor of the state, Ben Ayade, has condoled with families of those who lost their lives and promised to bring to book the driver of the vehicle that caused the accident. And that's Africa Today, but before we go, here are the top stories once again. Earlier, we told you Senate proposes new agencies, shuns Orosanye report. We also told you Ghana police ban harmful New Year prophecies. Still on the top stories, Angola's court ordered seizures of Dos Santos assets, while on sports, Cameroon deny withdrawal reports. Remember to visit us on Facebook, Instagram, and our YouTube channel at Hughes TV. I am Ainan Lubem. Thank you for watching.